Okay, hi everyone. So another one of these live sessions. Some interesting weather this time. Would you say that, Gav?
Definitely. It looks like it's going to be turning really cold in the coming days. We're bringing in a proper Siberian easterly sort of winds we've been waiting for a long time. So I think this one is definitely going to be quite an interesting chat.
Oh yes, exactly. So I think since we started, I was just saying to Gav, since we started doing these, I think we started doing these 2 or 3 years ago. We haven't actually had anything really major to talk about. So for the first time since we've started doing these live streams, we've actually got something quite severe on the way. So
definitely, I was looking at some historic charts today, and I can't find really an example where we brought the -15 isotherm in from the east for a very long time. Maybe the new year of 1996, 1997. And then before that, 1991. So even 2010 didn't bring the -15 isotherm in from the east.
Oh, indeed. I mean, 2010 had, I think, the -10 isotherm across the UK quite regularly, but I don't remember it being the -15. So our plan is to quickly go through the model outputs because we haven't seen it yet. So we're doing a cold viewing, and after that we will be taking questions on all the various social media. So by the way, we've already got record views already, and we've only just started. So this kind of bodes quite well.
At least I find it interesting anyway.
So okay, so I've got the GFS up here, 850 temperatures on the GFS 12Z, which neither of us have seen. So this is this evening. So you can see that the -10 isotherm is at the 850 level. So that's at around 1500 meters. Starts coming in sort of this evening. I suspect that's when we'll start to see a few snow flurries affecting eastern coastal counties, particularly East Anglia and the southeast. Yeah.
I would think snow flurries will begin this evening, yeah, and then they'll turn into sort of snow showers overnight and through tomorrow morning.
Yes, that's what I would kind of expect. The air's not that moist at the moment, but given how cold it is, I would expect to see some level of shallow convection through tomorrow. So this is sort of tomorrow during the middle of the day, and you can see that the 850 temperatures in the southeast are about -14, which is exceptionally cold. The last time it got down to -14 was March 2013, and like I said, in 2010 it didn't manage it. So already the coldest sort of upper air temperatures in a while, and you can have a look at the daytime temperatures. To see these sorts of daytime temperatures in late February is really quite exceptional. Did we get this in March 2000? Sorry, not March. February 2005. Do you remember, Gav? Because that was quite a cold spell.
I can't remember if it got quite that cold. I think it probably went under -10. I forgot to look at 2005 actually, so I was going through those historic charts that's earlier on.
2005 was one I remember well because it caused a lot of disruption with the school buses and
we in Northants we just got sort of light snow over several days. I can't really remember a heavy fall. But I think the upper air temperatures did go below -10, but I don't think they went to -15.
So yeah, but nevertheless, it was still very cold in 2005, but not as cold as it's going to be. So Monday looks like a day where there's going to be some sort of scattered snow showers with temperatures slightly above freezing, but barely. So as we go into Monday evening, more of the same. I guess the snow showers will start to pack in a bit later, but this little feature here, I think this has been on the facts charts.
Yeah, that's right. It's been showing up for a while.
It's showing up as a little warm sector. Now, of course, usually when you see a warm sector, that tends to be an issue because you don't usually get snow in warm sectors. But since the air is so cold, this warm sector, it's only warm in the relative sense. The 850 temperatures are still well below -5. So this is a sort of a little wave-like depression that's sort of coming into the cold air. So this is likely to give some persistent snow.
That should be our first sort of band of more generalised snow on Monday night, Tuesday morning.
Yeah, and you can see sort of this is sort of the trailing. This is the sort of the trailing cold front. Although it's quite, since the cold front is sort of upside down, the cold air sort of coming in from the east, and then this is the cold front, and then this little tail here is a little warm front. The warm front's not well defined, but you can see the cold front there, sort of the warm front here, sort of warm sector in the middle. But this is all going to be snow, and you can see sort of in the south we've got these streamers starting to develop as well. So I imagine
the snow streamers definitely setting up in the far southeast, which could be quite significant, actually.
Indeed. So of course Kent, maybe the Thames Valley as well.
Right.
Also, general parts of Norfolk, and also I think possibly the southwest, because of course we've got the lake effect will also affect. Because I mean, actually, what will happen is when you get fast moving air that's sort of hitting the peninsula here, you tend to get a bit of a convergence zone, because the friction of the land causes the air to converge over the land when you get these peninsula type things. So Florida in the summer gets heavy thunderstorms, and the reason it gets heavy thunderstorms is because of the shape of the land that causes the air to converge over it. Something similar can happen with the southwest coast. So if we get a sort of convergence zone happening over the southwest coast because of the shape of the land, then that will sort of act to emphasize any convection that's already there. So I think the southwest could actually be a favoured spot for some quite heavy snow showers, which is not something you get to say very often.
No, there might be pictures of like palm trees covered in deep snow in the papers in the next few days, I think. And
as the BBC pointed out, it'll even be cold enough on the sort of island of Sicily, which is, I mean, I can't remember the last time they got snow, possibly 2010, but it's
I'm not sure. The Scilly Isles, yeah. I'm not sure. It's very rare though for them to get snow down there.
But it'll be cold enough even for the Scilly Isles to see snow, so that shows you how cold the air is. Anyway, so as we go through Tuesday, this feature moves westward, and sort of I imagine it's giving snow at this point to parts of North Wales, Northern Ireland, parts of Ireland generally.
It'll come through Northern England and parts of the Midlands, and then go to Wales and across the Irish Sea.
It's going to affect most parts of the UK at some point. Probably not the southeast, but the southeast is going to be seeing snow streams anyway. So maximum temperatures during Tuesday, you can see where we've knocked a couple of degrees off. I imagine under any persistent snow, the temperatures are not going to get above freezing. But even when the sun comes out, we're looking at 0, 1, 2 degrees.
That's really cold, isn't it, for so late in February?
Oh yes, it's truly exceptional. I mean, getting an ice day at this time of year is quite remarkable. Mind you, we managed a couple of ice days in March 2013, so it is possible, but with the increased solar insulation, it tends to be quite difficult. So that's Tuesday. Sort of the really cold air, the sort of extreme cold comes in on sort of Tuesday night, Wednesday. You can see this -15 isotherm that sort of comes across the UK. Now I suspect that sort of Tuesday morning into Wednesday, the air will be so cold that we will start to see a few thunderstorms developing. I'm not exactly sure where they will develop, but I mean, you can see that the -20 isotherm is actually relatively close to Shetland here. I imagine maybe some places on the northeast coast of Scotland we'll start to see thunderstorms developing simply because of how cold this air is.
I think there has been warnings issued for lightning, or there was a day or two back. I'm not sure about.
It would not surprise me if on Wednesday morning some places on the east coast start to see thunderstorms developing. I mean, you can see the Cape here, which is something that you'd usually use in the summer to forecast thunderstorms. But it works here as well, because again, what you're looking for is unstable air masses where parcels of air can are positively buoyant. And you can see that around the eastern coast, you've got these darker blue colours where you've got this positively buoyant air. So this is so sort of, I guess, not so much the southeast on Wednesday, but the north, the sort of eastern Scotland, northeast of England. These are the sorts of places I would expect to be most likely to see thunderstorms on Wednesday morning in particular. And I'd say Wednesday morning because this is when the air is pretty much at its coldest. There's also a little feature coming into eastern parts, this little wave feature. I'm not really sure what impact that will have. It might increase the shower activity, but it might also act to sort of break up the showers in a sense, because again it might add a bit of wind shear to the conditions. So, and you can see also that the wind is no longer coming off the North Sea here. So I'm not exactly sure what effect that wave will have. It could enhance the shower activity, but equally it could depress it. What do you think?
I'm not sure. There could be a lot of, I think there'll be a lot of nowcasting going on as we get further into the week, as ever with these very cold, snowy situations. But I think for Wednesday, the snow is widespread. It's through central northern areas, and in the south, the snow risk isn't perhaps quite as great. But the cold will be at its greatest, as we already explained, around the middle of the week.
Exactly. But on Wednesday morning, I would expect some places to be seeing thunderstorms. So anyway, as we go through Wednesday, we can see this cold air is still through us. I say morning because rather than during the day, even though the upper air temperature doesn't really change much, because you tend to get the most heavy. You tend to get the heaviest showers during the night and early morning, simply because that's when the air is a bit colder. So it gets modified more heavily by the North Sea towards the surface. Anyway, more of the same on Wednesday into Thursday.
Really tightly packed isobars as well. So it's going to be very windy, and obviously with such cold temperatures, there's going to be quite a severe wind chill.
Well, the other effect of the increasing wind, actually, we will look at wind chill charts later because they are interesting. But another effect of the increasing wind is it will tend to blow the showers further inland. So again, for the lake effect, stronger winds tend to decrease the extreme concentration of snow on the coast, but it tends to spread it out a lot more as well. So since the winds are going to be so strong at this point, I can put the winds on here. I would expect that at this point, the snow showers will be pretty ubiquitous. So I don't think, but by the time we get to Wednesday into Thursday, we'll be seeing snow showers not just in eastern parts. We'll be seeing them pretty much everywhere, even in the sort of relatively sheltered parts, like for example Wales. I'd expect that pretty much everywhere to be seeing snow showers at this point.
I think by midweek, the risk of snow is pretty much anywhere.
So, and as we go to the end of the week, of course, is arguably even more interesting in terms of snow, as this area of low pressure starts to move north. And I suspect this is the sort of, and I'm not going to say that anything is certain by any means, but I suspect this is one of the ingredients that could cause something truly disruptive and historic to happen when you get something like this with a lot of moisture, a lot of heat. I mean, if we look at the temperatures here, you can see there's a lot of heat being pushed into this low, a lot of moisture. When this sort of starts to move over this cold air, the ingredients are there for some truly historic snow totals as this low starts to come a little bit further north. But on Thursday, it's still mostly snow showers. But if we have a look at the precipitation charts, we can see that on the south coast, the snow clouds are gathering once again. We've got some more persistent levels of snow.
That's right. That could be a real sort of blizzard and very severe sort of event on Thursday night and Friday. It's a long way off. So it's just going to be one to keep an eye on, but it could be very, very memorable, that low pressure.
And these are the maximum temperatures during Thursday midday. So I was looking at the Met Office climate extremes page, and the lowest March maximum temperature ever recorded was -4.6. You can see a few -5s and -6s on this chart, and then we know that the GFS temperature chart tends to understate how cold some of these temperatures tend to be. So we need to have some station in the UK that records a temperature of less than -4.6 between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. And I honestly think that's going to fall. What do you think?
I think we're certainly on a knife edge of doing it. I wouldn't guarantee it, but it certainly looks like it's under threat. So I'm not sure what the date record is for the 1st of March. That could go as well.
I think the minus 4.6 was recorded on the 2nd of March, if I can.
All right. So that's like the all-time March record, isn't it?
I mean, the fact that this is happening on the 1st of March is quite good as well. It's more likely to happen the earlier it happens.
But there would also be a date record at some point for a cold date record for the 1st.
Yes. Although I imagine it'll be, again, well, probably -3, -4, I would guess. I don't know the figure for that.
So that could well go as well. So
that could go as well. We could break 2 records on one day.
You're looking like it could be quite a historic and memorable and severe and disruptive spell of cold weather. Definitely.
Exactly. And I think the last time one of these was broken, I think we've broken a few in the last decade, but for warm temperatures. But in 2010, I think, is it possible a November one was broken? I mean, I know regionally Northern Ireland broke a few in 2010, didn't it? I'm not sure we broke a national one in 2010.
I think there was some record-breaking cold temperatures in December 2010. So but I'm not sure what any of them were.
I'm not sure what all-time month one was broken though. I remember that Northern Ireland broke several. They had an all-time minimum temperature ever recorded, but I'm not sure a national one was broken in 2010.
We got very close to the all-time December central temperature going.
Oh yes, that was very close. We got down to, I think, the 2nd lowest.
Yeah, it's the coldest since 1890, and we're just 0.2 of a degree, I think, away from that record going. So,
but that was more of a marathon than a sprint. I mean, to break the CET records, you have to do it for an entire month. It's not right. Just getting an extremity happening on one day. I talk about these maxima charts because it would be much harder to break a minimum with such a strong wind, I imagine. So I think maxima is probably more likely to go. To get a minima to go, we would have to at some point get the wind speed down a little bit.
And probably over quite deep snow cover.
Well, we'll have that, of course, but
yeah.
So again, going into Thursday now, these sorts of thermal gradients, you tend to see them quite regularly over Canada and the east coast of America during those northeaster storms, don't you? I'd actually say that this looks like a northeaster in that you have this very strong thermal gradient, and this is a very good thing if you want snow, because it suggests that this is a really strong system. I always say that warm fronts are some of the best snowmakers that you can have, and that the biggest enemy of snow on a warm front is not high temperatures, but an incoherent front where the front is too weak. But this is not a weak front by any means. This is pumping in a lot of moisture and a lot of heat.
That looks like a monster low, doesn't it? So
it does. I mean, actually, if we look at the depth of the low, well, I mean, there's the 984s there. I think there's 4 millibar intervals or something. So like 972 or something. I mean, that's a deep Atlantic storm in itself. 972.
That would probably be named as well. It might be named by.
I imagine it will be if there's a strong wind on it. So where's the precipitation? So precipitation is falling sort of across southern areas, and you know this will sort of be snow. I guess it's turning to rain on the far south coast, but at this stage it's more a case of where that front lies, how far north it comes, because what tends to happen with these systems as we get further and further towards the day, they tend to slip a little bit further south.
That's right. It's not inconceivable that this might come up against that block of cold air, and a lot of it might go into France and keep us in an easterly wind. It is not out of the question that could happen.
Indeed. I mean, it's also not out of the question that this could be trended a little bit further northwards, but I suspect, if anything, it's more likely to be trended south. It's not good for people like me who want to see snow further north, but I suspect
you'll get the snow showers anyway.
Oh, we'll get the snow showers, of course, but I mean, actually, if we compare it to the previous run, I mean, it's pretty much the same, isn't it? But the GFS wants to sort of, you can see, I guess by sort of Friday at 12 o'clock, where is it here? Yeah, it's sort of across, it's a little bit further north, isn't it?
Yeah, it's staying up to northern England.
Yeah. Although, again, I'm a bit skeptical about it coming this far north. I mean, because I mean, I always when you look at like the Met Office forecasts 5 days in advance, which are quite a good representation of what some of the models are showing. And you often see a weather warning that includes sort of Scotland and Northern England because of one of these systems coming into cold air, and then it trends further and further south, and it ends up hitting the Midlands. And I can't remember how many times that seems to happen, but it seems to happen quite a lot. Where these systems.
That's right, and as I say, it's not out of the question that low might finish up somewhere around northern France in the end. And the snow might not get much further north than Wales and the Midlands. You just never know. But we're given that how cold the areas that it's running into. I mean, it could happen.
I mean, this one is quite good for more northern areas because it sort of pivots, and then you can see at sort of late Friday the snow is sort of starting to come back a little bit further south again. But I suspect. I think somewhere like Bristol will probably do quite well. That's my gut instinct. Somewhere like Bristol, Birmingham.
Yeah, maybe Bristol to the Wash in a line, that sort of area.
I think I don't know. Again, it depends how far north it is, but I probably would say that Devon and Cornwall will probably see rain, only because every time that I remember these major snow events, it always seems to be that Devon and Cornwall is sort of on the rain side, and pretty much everywhere else to the northeast is on the snow side.
That's right. Maybe other southern coastal counties it might, and I suppose for Channel Islands as well.
Yeah, I think the Channel Islands are probably going to see rain, but of course the Channel Islands are going to see snow before that. So, but this could all change. So going further ahead, this low pressure is still spinning around in the south. Sort of, you can see where the cold air is. It's sort of retreated a little bit to the north, and it's not quite as cold now. We've got maximum temperatures that are, I mean, 1 to 3 degrees is still pretty cold, but the sort of the cold and snow has definitely retreated further north at this point. But then sort of later on, there's a hint that it could start to come back in on a more northerly flow. Yeah,
as the low exits to the east, it might start to pull cold air. Not as cold, but as it will be, but it might start to pull some cold air back again.
And you can see that this particular GFS run sort of ends with us in a quite a cold northerly flow. I mean, I wonder though, given the amount of snow cover, these temperatures are still pretty cold for northerly in late February. Certainly a couple of degrees colder than I would expect them in this synoptic, probably just because there's so much snow cover around at this point.
Yeah, and the ground will be freezing cold as well. So
yeah, I mean that seems to be quite. I mean, look, if you compare these two different scenarios, it's still the end of the week looks quite uncertain, to be honest. As it stands, taking these model output literally, it would imply a period of quite disruptive snowfall for pretty much most of England and Wales, and then sort of gradually bringing milder air in and keeping the colder air across Scotland and Northern England. That's as it stands, but again, I won't be surprised if we see sort of colder air trend back in later, or indeed the lowest struggles to get that far north.
I've seen a few pro-Met forecasters on Twitter saying that this could be a memorable sort of blizzard. I think they're taking it seriously. The UK Met and pro-Mets, I think they're taking it very, very seriously. They're concerned, but obviously it's a few days away, so there's time for some moderation. We've got
some of the snow depths here. Unfortunately, the scale is a bit broken, but we can see that sort of by Saturday morning, I think the blue is around 20-25 centimeters of snow. So these are the sorts of totals that we're probably looking at. That's not just on one day. That's the line level of snow, 20-25 centimeters. And
that would be with significant drifting, of course, with the wind.
I mean, we'll see drifts of probably feet deep. I mean, well, one thing I would also emphasise with this cold spell is that you can get heavy snow when it's relatively mild. Temperatures could be 4 or 5 degrees outside, and you can still get quite a lot of snow, and it will settle a little bit on the ground. But the point to note about this is if the weather if the temperature is quite mild, you're losing a lot of lying snow. Just some sort of it melts, even if it does settle. The fact that it's going to be so cold this week means that even if the snow is very light and the flakes are very small, it'll still settle pretty much straight away. So what I would say about this is that the snow will settle far easier. Like usually in a cold spell, you need to get the snow falling for a couple of hours, and then it'll start to build up as a wet sort of covering. I would expect the snow to be settling pretty much from the off this time, so that will be quite different.
I don't think we'll have to worry about the snow melting as it lands. I think it'll be cold enough for the ground to support snow all the way through. So
I mean, even if we're talking on Monday when the temperature's a couple of degrees above freezing, this is not going to be, in my opinion, not going to be a problem either, because the dew points will be so low. So I reckon the dew points -5, -6 dew points. So because of this, the snow will not melt; it will just evaporate. When you get very low dew points compared to the temperatures, the snow just doesn't melt; it just evaporates. And what the evaporation does is it makes the atmosphere even colder. So I wouldn't expect to see a lot of melting snow even during the day. Although of course the sun will get to work on it, and it will sort of start to evaporate away a little bit during the day, because the sun's very strong at this time of year.
That's right. So we're not looking at problems with dripping. It's just that some of the snow might evaporate into the air, but certainly the ground should be cold enough to support snow, and it'll quickly pile up if there's any heavier outbreaks of snow. It'll quickly start to settle and pile up and then to drift as the wind gets up by the middle of the week.
Of course, during the night time, there won't be any issues with solar insulation. So most of the snow on the ground will come at night. Most of the time, the lake effect will be stronger, and the snow will not be evaporating. So
yeah, that's right.
So shall we take some questions now, and then maybe look at some short range stuff?
Yeah, sure. I've got quite a few, so I'll try and rattle through as quickly as I can. So Andreas is asking about the easterly QBO going forwards. Will we remain in the easterly QBO? Won't go into what the QBO is in this live event because we're short on time, but we will remain in the easterly QBO for the spring and into the summer. And the effects of that, we're not certain what the effects are, but probably an increased risk of some northern blocking in March can be expected. Christopher is asking whether there'll be snow in Milford Haven. So yes, I think there will, especially later in the week, and then maybe some disruptive snow towards the end of the week. Roger Payne is asking, will there be snow in London? I think London is definitely at risk against snow showers early in the week. Particularly Kieran is asking, will Birmingham see snow? And again, I think definitely Birmingham is at risk of snow showers early in the week. And then, of course, if we get that low pressure coming up from the south, risk of blizzards by Friday. Stephen Glossop is asking how the upper air temperatures compared to December 2010. So with that one, we've explained, but actually the upper air temperatures are probably going to be colder actually than this week. They'll probably be colder than they were in December 2010 when we didn't get down to -15 Celsius isotherm. David Wright is asking about snow, where will there be snow and how cold it be in South Normanton. So not sure where that is, but pretty much by the middle of the week, all places will be at risk of snow, and temperatures by day will be at or below freezing all day. Matty H is asking about will there be snow at Chippings Sobry, and when will that snow fall and at what time? So I think that's a little bit beyond our powers of forecasting, but there is bound to be some snow there, I would have thought. Peter is asking how much snow will there be in Hailsham, East Sussex. So again, I suspect can't really go into how deep it will be, but there will definitely be, or there almost certainly will be, snow in Hailsham. Mark Kinish wants to know about will there be snow in the Wirral, and is this freeze similar to 2010? So in some ways, yes, it's similar to 2010. In other ways, it's actually, in terms of the upper air temperatures, it's a little bit more severe than 2010. But bear in mind, 2010 happened in December when the sun is weaker, and this is happening at the end of February when the sun is a little bit stronger. So it swings and roundabouts, really. And as far as snow is concerned, probably not prone to snow in the Cheshire area earlier in the week, but towards the end, towards the middle of the week, definitely there could be snow showers, and then there may be more persistent snow at the end of the week. Neil is asking, will there be snow at Patcham, which is apparently a hilly part of Brighton, on Friday, but will it be washed away? So definitely there could be some significant snow to the south coast, as we explained, Thursday night and into Friday morning. Probably it will turn back to rain later on, but the track of that low pressure is to be determined, and if it was to track into northern parts of France and keep wind in from the east, then it would remain as snow throughout. We're nearing the end with these. Simon Feldman is asking, how cold would this spell have been if it had happened a month ago? That's an interesting question, and I suppose it would have been even colder than the weather that we've got coming up. So I'm not sure how much colder it would have been, but if it happened.
I would say that that in 2010 we had some ice days in late November, didn't we? When the cold hadn't had much of a chance to really evict in. So the uppers then were sort of -10, -11. So I'd say 4 or 5 degrees colder by day. So we'd be looking at -7, -8.
I think so. If this had happened in January, this would probably have been getting comparable to the 1987 freeze, which people my age would remember the freeze up of January 1987. It probably would have been getting comparable to that. Happened a month ago. Last two. So Jordan Bass is asking, could Friday's snow stay? Could Friday's snow stay as snow, not turn to rain in the south? And yes, if that low pressure was to track into northern France rather than pushing up to northern England, then yes, it would remain as snow on the south coast. At the moment, that looks like a low probability, but it's not to be discounted at this stage. And then finally, I think it's Eva has asked, will this spell really beat January and March 2013? And also she's asked if we can give a mention to the great town of Welshpool. So in terms of upper air temperatures, this is probably going to be colder than the cold spells in January and March 2013. It's colder than that. Remember, March 2013 was stretched out, cold weather and snow stretched out over like a couple of weeks. So this maybe 3 weeks even. So this isn't probably going to extend out that long. But nevertheless, while it is at its severest, which is going to be around Wednesday and Thursday, it will probably be colder, or I think it will definitely be colder than what we had in March 2013.
Yes, I would agree with that. I mean, also just because the time of year, March 2013 happened during late March. That's when the coldest conditions came, and we still got a few ice days even then.
That's right. That was an extraordinary cold spell for so late in the year. I remember even into April 2013, it was still sort of frozen, the ground around these parts. And there was snow on the ground even sort of early April, which is quite extraordinary.
Yeah, it's the deepest snow I've ever seen in my life. When I went on the Pennines and the snow was piled up meters deep, you couldn't even see the dry stone wall. So it was quite a remarkable spell. But it was very late in the year, so. And the upper air temperatures were still not quite as impressive as they are this week. So
no, I don't think so. I looked earlier on, as I say, I went through the historic charts, and we never brought in the -15 isotherm during that cold spell. So this will be colder, certainly from an upper air temperature perspective. Anyway, it will be colder than that.
So you can see how many sort of if I put up on the screen how many. So this might have to be quick fire. Have you done Gav's weather vids?
You go through those questions. I'll check out Gav's weather vids and some of the social media pages on my side.
bear with us. There's a lot more activity than we usually get. What would be colder in the winter? Winds from the north or the east? Winds from the east tend to be colder because they get modified to a lesser degree over warm seas, but it's more difficult to set up northerly winds. Okay. People talking about Manchester. Manchester will, I think, see some snow. Maybe not tomorrow, but I suspect Manchester will see its first snow on Tuesday as that wave frontal system moves from east to west. So expect some snow in Manchester on Tuesday. Okay. Powdery snow it's snow that's got a much lower moisture content. So to constitute snow, you have to have a liquid to ice ratio of about 50%. So wet snow is still 50% liquid. This will be the percentage of liquid in the snow that's coming this week will be a lot lower. It'll be a lot more solid. So powdery because the snowflakes tend to break up in the air because they're solid. So when you have more liquid snowflakes, they tend to stick together and you get big flakes. But when the snow is powdery, because it's a lot drier and there's a lot less liquid, the snowflakes tend to fall apart and you get a lot smaller, drier flakes. And they're powdery because they tend to blow into every crack and orifice and behave like powder. So that's why powdery. Basically, the snow is a lot drier and colder than it usually is.
In the 1991 freeze, wasn't the powdery snow termed as the wrong kind of snow by British Rail because it brought the network to a standstill, and they said that powdery snow is the wrong kind of snow.
I think it was because the wind blows it everywhere. So I think it was because it blew into the train mechanisms or something. That any small hole, it would just get snow blown into it. Whereas when the snow is wet and sticky, it doesn't tend to do that.
I think that's right. Yeah,
really blows about. So someone wants me to explain dew point. So dew point is simply the temperature at which, given the current moisture content of the air, that you get condensation of moisture out from a gaseous to a liquid state. Having low dew points is quite important because it means that you can continue to evaporate moisture off the snow, and the evaporation removes heat. If the dew point's quite high, you can't do that because the air is already saturated with moisture. But if the dew point's low, you can continue to evaporate moisture off the snow, which cools the snowflakes down, which again means that the snow doesn't tend to melt; it just tends to just evaporate. So I think that's most of the questions on YouTube. Any others?
Yeah, I've got several on Gav's weather leads. So let's have a look. Shiram is asking how much snow can he expect at Sedgley in West Midlands. So again, can't really put amounts onto this, but obviously the early and middle part of the week, there'll be the risk of snow showers. Maybe that feature coming in on Tuesday morning could produce some more prolonged sort of snow as well for parts of the North and West Midlands. And then at the end of the week, if we get that low pressure coming up, then you're talking about at least 10 centimetres of snow, probably more, with drifting and potentially blizzard conditions as well. Nigel is asking, do we think will London and home counties see ice days this coming Wednesday and Thursday near sea level? That definitely looks like it's a distinct probability even for ice days in home counties. And secondly, do we think the snow will be powdery or will it be wet snow? Well, with such cold temperatures, air temperatures, upper air temperatures and dew points, it is likely to be powdery snow. Harry is asking how much snow do we think there'll be in Slough and the southeast in general? Again, can't really put depths to it, but there's a risk of snow showers for the early part of the week and into middle of the week, and then maybe more general prolonged drifting and blizzard type snow on Friday before possibly turning back to rain and thawing by next weekend. And all of the snow that falls, or most snow that falls, will lie. So again, we could be talking about quite deep snow in places. Brendan is asking, Brendan's from Finland, and is asking, having lived in North Kent all of my childhood, snow streamers are a very familiar entity. And it was through that they got severe snow cover in 87 and 1991. I know this cold spell won't be as long as one mentioned, but because of potency, there is disruptive potential isn't there. So yes, there is definitely potential for widespread disruption, not just from those snow streamers in the southeast, but also across other parts of the country. Toby is asking, is the Isle of Wight still looking okay for snow this week? So yeah, there will be snow showers, I would have thought, through the early and middle part of the week, and then at the end of the week, probably a spell of snow before it potentially goes back to rain. Ron Webb is asking, do we think if the stratospheric warming has had any influence on this cold spell? You can never 100% say that one thing leads to another in the weather, so you never 100% guarantee that the stratospheric warming that occurred a couple of weeks ago is responsible for this particular cold spell. But we know that after sudden stratospheric warmings, we do increase the blocking signal. Leo has asked, how much snow do we think there'll be in the Nottingham area? Is there any chance of getting some significant snowfall on Friday? So, yeah, snow showers, maybe more persistent areas of snow, sort of the end of tomorrow through Tuesday, Wednesday to Thursday. Then Friday, if that low pressure gets far enough north, remember the low pressure might trend further south, but if it gets far enough north, there's definitely the risk of substantial snow with drifting and blizzards on Friday. That's a risk. Justin is asking if the low trends south, will Cornwall have a better chance of heavy snow? So Cornwall will probably get some heavy snow anyway, but it'll just quite quickly go back to rain on Thursday night.
Also, I suspect Cornwall will do very well with the convective snow earlier in the week. Again,
that's right.
Cornwall is ideal in terms of getting a convection zone setting, a convergence zone setting up, so on Tuesday or Wednesday. So even if Cornwall doesn't get the snow on Friday, I think there will be a period of snow possibly. But
that's right. There is a danger that with this low pressure looking so severe on Friday, that everybody kind of misses what's going to happen on sort of Monday night, Tuesday, Wednesday, and possibly into Thursday. So we can't discount these snow showers by any means, because a lot of places are going to get disruptive snow from them as well. Stanley is asking, do we think the London area could get a covering of the snow on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and even Thursday? So, yeah, London will be at risk of getting snow through the course of this week, either from the showers through the early middle part of the week, and then potentially at the end of the week. And so I think that's it for the questions that Gaz.
We'll have another question and answer session in 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, that's right.
So I thought what we'd do now is have a quick look at some of the. I'll just get this back up. Yeah, so have a quick look at some of the short-term stuff. So this is the 2 kilometer wharf model, so it's quite good for sort of short-term stuff. So you can see that the hatch line is snow, whereas when it's not hatched, it's rain. But I wouldn't really worry too much about that. It's all going to be snow. But you can see that at the moment we don't have much in the way of showers, but they start to form over the North Sea, and within the next few hours, I would imagine we'll start to see a few showers forming. And you can see that many parts of the northeast, even some parts of the North Midlands, and again a few places in the southeast, start to see a few. These will mostly be light snow showers, I imagine at this point. But there will be a few snowflakes in the air by tomorrow morning for many parts of the east and the northeast.
Some places might wake up to a little coating of icing sugar on the ground.
Yes, exactly. Don't expect huge amounts out of this, but definitely it'll sort of set the scene for later in the week. So again, during Monday, it's more of the same. We're expecting a day where there will be light snow showers or a few flurries in eastern parts. That will also affect higher ground as well, because the enhancement of the higher ground will tend to produce heavier showers. You can see there's also a few snow showers developing over Northern Ireland, a few in the southwest as well, in Cornwall. And this is the first hint of a streamer starting to develop in the Thames area. Maybe there'll be some more substantial snow here. Also, one sitting up in the Wash. So there's some possibility of something that's slightly heavier here in these two areas. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I can sometimes in Northants can sometimes get a streamer from the Wash if there's a bit of a northeasterly tilt to the wind. So yeah, definitely streamers are possible through the Wash and through the Thames as well. So some areas by tomorrow could well already have a covering of snow.
And then sort of tomorrow evening, you can see that again we have there's a few snow showers across the southwest, southeast, and we've still got these snow showers continuing in eastern parts of England and northeast parts of England. Snow tending to die away in northeast Scotland. I suspect that's due to this system here starting to move sort of southwestwards. That holds the wave type feature that we were talking about earlier. So you can see this sort of starts to move in. The convection is still continuing over eastern and northeastern parts of England, and we've got this snow streamer affecting the southeast. So still snow showers during Monday night, but then sort of this is as far as it will go. But you can see it's Monday night is when it really gets going. You can see this period of heavy snow starting to move in off the North Sea.
Yeah, that's right. And already by sort of tomorrow evening, some parts of the southeast where that's excuse me, that streamer does look quite persistent already. So some places by the end of tomorrow we'll probably have a decent covering of snow across parts of southeastern Britain.
We can quickly put up the predicted snow totals. So this is, I think, a little bit over initialized, but you can see the distribution of showers by sort of Monday night, and you can see that already we have a covering of snow for, again, parts of London, where the streamer is essentially setting up here. Most parts of northern England, eastern Scotland, parts of the Midlands. So even by Monday night, we've got a couple of centimeters for many parts of the UK already. Not so much further west and further north, but so we've already got something there.
That's right. That already by Monday night, that already is looking pretty decent for UK standards for sort of lying snow. So and then it's just going to get snowier as the week goes on. So
this is arguably already better than anything we've already had this year, and this year has, by all accounts, not been a bad year in terms of.
Yeah, we had a pretty decent snow cover here in the Midlands on the 10th of December, I think it was, but. We
could have done an entire live stream just about this. I mean,
probably
that puts it all in perspective, doesn't it? But of course, there's more to come, so we can go a little bit further and have a look. Of course, the model resolution is a little bit lower, so you can see the same sort of idea with sort of snow showers developing in the east tomorrow morning. This one seems to sort of have a more. I've seen this on a few models. This streamer in the East Midlands Wash type area. That could be something to watch. I think the Metals has got a warning for this, haven't they?
Yeah, I think so. So
this particular streamer setting up.
Parts of East Anglia and the East Midlands, Lincolnshire, perhaps just about as well. Might get some.
Okay, so we can see that Monday. Okay, so I mean, you can see this snow streamer really starting to set up on Monday night in the southeast. That's quite impressive. And then this area of snow moving in to affect sort of Yorkshire, northeast England, eastern Scotland on Tuesday morning, and then you can see sort of behind it, you get this rash of showers coming in off the North Sea. So
that really starts to unstable the atmosphere, doesn't it? And so behind that, then it's opening the door to some really heavy convective snow showers.
Yeah, you can see that they're sort of forming in the streets as well. I mean, so by the time we got to Wednesday, you can see that look how widespread the green colours are. So that this is heavy snow showers. And you can see again in Cornwall, we've got these sort of convergence lines starting to develop as well. So genuinely impressive stuff here.
That's right. It looks quite significant, doesn't it?
Another website I quite like. Let's have a quick look at this. This is quite good because this is the 5 kilometer. This is about halfway in between the two that we've just seen, but it goes a little bit further. So again, we're still looking at the 6 Z. So the physics might be slightly different on this model. So this is why we might be seeing slightly different things, but it's still an interesting idea. So okay, same sort of thing on tonight with the snow shower starting to develop and pushing in. You can see the streamers starting to set up across southeast England, and then sort of during the Monday day, most parts of the east and southeast will have seen some snow showers, but and then this thing you can see sort of this yeah, again these features of the streamers in the southeast and then this area of snow are starting to affect Yorkshire and the northeast. They're pretty much nailed on, would you say, at this point? Yeah,
I think so. That looks you know, it's almost certain we'll bring that feature in off the North Sea on Monday night and Tuesday morning.
And if you look at if you sort of take somewhere sort of in Yorkshire, I mean, that's a good starting at somewhere like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and lasting till about 10 o'clock in the morning. I mean, that's a good 7 hours of heavy snowfall.
Yeah, that's a major sort of snow event in its own sort of right, and then there's much more snow to come beyond that as well. So,
I mean, somewhere like Kent could see even more than 7 hours of persistent snow if you get inside that cloud street.
Yeah, that's going to be a persistent streamer, which is going to be very impactful for the southeastern part of the country. That snow is also getting into Wales and the Midlands on this model as well. So that
you can really see the showers really gang together by Tuesday. Behind this, we've got a lot of instability here. I mean, I wonder if we can get the cape on this and see sort of the darker blues where that instability is. We can also get some instability across parts of Ireland and Wales as well. But you can see that these showers are really starting to pack in now. Sort of.
That's very significant.
We can actually get accumulated precipitation here as well, I believe. Here we go, accumulated precipitation. So you can see what the shower distribution is. This is in millimeters. Rough rule is you can multiply this by about 10 to give your snow accumulations. This is, of course, assuming that a lot of the snow melts or evaporates, and some of it will, but not to anywhere near the extent that it usually does. So if we just multiply this by 10, you can see some parts of Kent in the southeast, they're already getting about 20 centimeters of snow by Tuesday. So we haven't even got to the middle part of the week. We've already got 20 centimeters of snow for parts of the southeast.
Some parts of I said in a video a couple of days ago that some parts of the east and the east coast will be buried in snow. Thought maybe I've gone a bit over the top, but looking at that, it looks like that's right. And some places will probably be quite buried in snow, literally, by the middle of the week.
I mean, you can even see the more sheltered parts of the West and the Midlands and parts of southwest England. We're still in the sort of medium blue type colours. So we're still looking at a couple of centimetres, even in the more sheltered regions by the end of Tuesday.
That's right.
And we'd, of course, expect snow showers to continue later on in the week. So this is genuinely quite impressive stuff. I'll put the cape and lift it up again. So, I mean, actually, I wonder, yeah, you can see sort of, again, this is mostly used for thunderstorms, but you can see that the darker blue colours moving in tonight. And this is where the more unstable areas, and you can see the convergence zone setting up across the southwest and into Cornwall as well. And then it sort of dies down a bit, but only because of this more prolonged area of snow that pushes in. And then we really open the floodgates to this instability on Tuesday, with these really dark blues starting to affect most parts. So
that's right. It looks really unstable, and I think there'll be thunder snow for the east, definitely through the middle part of the week, with the risk of lightning with some of these showers and thunder. So that always looks quite spectacular when you get lightning and thunder with snow, because it's not something you don't really associate lightning and thunder with snow. So when you get it, it always looks quite odd and memorable.
Yeah, I've seen the Jim Cantori videos with the thunder snow.
I've not seen those.
Yeah, he gets quite excited when it happens in America, because of course it happens in America, and with the actual lake effect going on, we don't get it much here. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how low we can get these thickness values by Wednesday. But they're already 510 by late Tuesday.
That's very unusual, really, isn't it? Especially this late in the year to get the 510 thickness line through.
It is impressive. So this is the arpège, the French model. Again, sort of similar sort of story. Monday, and it's not really blowing up the showers as much on this model, but it's still got this idea of some kind of streamer happening in the wash area, and then we've got this band of snow moving in on Tuesday morning, and then these heavy snow showers moving in behind. See late Tuesday how sort of these showers really packing together, and then this convergence line over the southwest as well.
Very impressive, doesn't it?
We'll be able to see the persistent snow come up from the south. I love how sort of the areas of snow just merged together at this point. You can just see this huge mass of snow just moving up. Let's see if we can get some actual. We can't get. Okay, this is not lying snow. This is accumulated snow, so it's subject to, of course, snow melting or evaporating. But you can see the snow really coming in. So this is by sort of Tuesday night. Same sort of idea as the Wharf model, but I guess the only difference with here is that somewhat less snow than the Wharf model, and more of an emphasis on northern England as opposed to southeast England by Tuesday night.
That's right. But it still looks pretty. I mean, that still looks impactful, very impactful.
By the time we get to sort of Wednesday, we're seeing sort of in northern England and sort of parts of the Norfolk coast, we're sort of getting into, I think this is around 15 centimetres, 15 centimetres, sort of as we move that through. It continues to pile up by sort of Wednesday night. What's that colour? It's like 25, maybe touching 30 centimetres of snow that's fallen. And then, of course,
going up to about a foot of snow by that point, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we're getting beyond. So what this reddish colour here, which is starting to see, that's getting on for 30 centimetres, and then of course we've got the snow pushing up from the south, and you can just see that everywhere just goes. Yeah, and we've even got some. What's this colour? Is that like 50 centimetres, half a metre of snow over the hills?
That's incredible, isn't it? See how that's piling up.
But keep in mind, this is snow that's fallen. This is not the same as snow that's on the ground, because again, this is snow gets compacted, it gets evaporated, it melts. So somewhat less than this, but
it still looks impressive, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, we won't be showing charts like this in the next live stream, I don't imagine. What other models have we got? We've got the hill, and this is the one that the Meteo Group likes to use, isn't it? Since we've got the BBC that's using. Got a Meteo Group contract now. This is one of the ones that the Meteo Group seems to like to use. Personally, I don't like it because it tends to over-exaggerate everything. So I suspect this will over-exaggerate now how much. You can see it's already. Yeah, you see what I mean about it over-exaggerating.
Yeah, it looks a bit over the top, doesn't it?
You can do the same with the cumulative precipitation, and you can see that one's got well, actually, it doesn't look too bad on this. Sort of 10 or so centimetres by midday on Tuesday. Same kind of areas, though. I mean, the models all seem to have a few things in common. That southwest Cornwall, possible, southeast England, Norfolk, Yorkshire, East Yorkshire, North East England, and Eastern Scotland worst affected, but the UK affected as a whole.
That's right. It's going to take a little bit longer, I think, for Wales and sort of northwest England and southwest Scotland to be impacted, but eventually, even in those areas, by the middle of the week, can expect some quite significant snow.
And now we also have the Euro 4. This is a Met Office model. It's not the high resolution one. If you want, we can have a look at the high resolution one. My little trick is to look at the Met Office video forecast, because that basically is the high resolution model. So we can have a quick look at that. We won't have it with sound on, but so this is actually a bit of an upgrade since I last looked at it. It's got a little bit more snow going on, tomorrow morning, more widespread.
I've purposely not looked at any sort of models today for snow, so
it's a little bit of an upgrade. The snow's a little bit more widespread than it was on the 6Z. If you look at the 6Z, okay, maybe not. It's about the same.
So that's 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, isn't it? So
yeah.
even
it is light. It is light snow showers. I mean, there's nothing heavy about this at this stage tomorrow.
Yeah, dusting of snow, of ice and sugar, for a few people in the morning.
And we've got this again. This stream is setting in a rather different place to the ones that the other models were suggesting. The other ones were suggesting it was sort of set up in the Wash, and also maybe one in southeast England. This one is in a rather unusual place. Yeah, but it's still the same sort of area with the Norfolk and the East Midlands likely to see a bit of snow. And then wow, yeah, that's quite impressive, isn't it?
That's a snow event moving in off the North Sea definitely by Tuesday morning.
And the stream is really getting going, of course.
Yeah, streamer in the southeast.
Yeah, you can see that got another streamer starting to develop here, and snow showers packing in behind. We can have a quick look at snow turtles by Tuesday midday. There's quite a bit of a deviation. I think this is possibly one of the more pessimistic ones in terms of if you like snow. This one's going for, I guess, 2 to 5 centimeters in parts of East Yorkshire, about the same in southeast England by Tuesday. It's probably more.
I've noticed this model does tend to underestimate a little bit, I think.
I think the ones that were suggesting that we'd be seeing something like 20 centimetres by Tuesday are probably over-exaggerating.
Yeah, it'll be somewhere in between, probably. That's probably a bit on the pessimistic side, and those ones that were showing 20 centimetres probably over the top, so probably somewhere in between. So a decent covering for parts of southeast by the end of by Tuesday morning.
I would tend to agree with that. What are the there's no point looking at the that's really only good for fronts. What else is there? This one, I suppose, is the Wharf model that runs out a little bit further, and I'll put it on the overview charts. So this is, I guess, a bit better for a bit longer range. Again, we've still got the same idea of that area of snow pushing in on Tuesday morning. Again, the streamers setting up in similar positions. The extreme southwest of Cornwall, southeast England, Thames area, Norfolk, the Wash. There's a lot. There's some consistency here.
There's quite a lot of similarities overall with the model output, isn't there?
This one is hinting at what I was talking about earlier about the blowing in a little bit of dry air on late on Wednesday with this wave type feature. You can see here I thought about whether or not this wave would enhance the snow or whether it would reduce it. It's got a bit of snow on it, but it's blowing in a bit drier air behind. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it looks like it. I have noticed that from the when I did the week ahead forecast on yesterday, I noticed that Wednesday, particularly for the south, looks like a slightly drier day, albeit that is when the cold will be virtually at its peak. The air might be slightly drier, which I suppose probably makes the cold even more intense.
The one thing that this model does seem to indicate, though, is that the convergence line really gets going over southwest England this time, because I imagine you're getting the wind blowing right up the peninsula. If we can get more of an easterly or not even northeasterly wind, we can sort of really get some convergence going over the peninsula. So some heavy snow going here. So might be able to get a bit of a look at the end of the week then on this model. This one is bringing up the snow. So this is Thursday. We're starting to bring up the snow on Thursday. Yeah, this one is a bit more pessimistic, isn't it? I think this is because the 6Z, but it takes most of the snow over Ireland, doesn't it?
That would be. I get a lot of people watching from Ireland, actually. So there'll be a fair few people watching this from Ireland on Gav's Weather. A map looks very, very snowy for Ireland. So, they could be in the firing line for some really significant snow as well.
I guess it depends on where this low sets up. If we're drawing up more of a southeasterly wind, we'll start to mix out some of the really cold air, I suppose.
That's right. A lot of with that low pressure on Thursday and Friday, I think a lot of questions are still remaining with that low pressure. So anything to do with that is really subject to quite major and significant changes.
There's also the icon. I don't think the icon's really that good for convection. It tends to sort of rain all the stuff out light at the coast, which is not that realistic. It tends to underestimate how far inland some of this stuff gets. So you can see on Monday, it's apart from these streamers, which do get a bit inland, it doesn't seem to do much over the land. So I'm a bit skeptical about that. Nevertheless, it seems to model the snow event on Tuesday morning quite well, and then we've got snow showers coming in behind that. Again, I wouldn't worry too much about the lack of hatching. The icon can't do that either. It's not very good at convection. So obviously the icon is showing rain here, but it's not going to be raining on Wednesday.
That's definitely going to be snow. Anything that falls from the sky.
The icon is really poor at this. I don't know why. I mean, you can see that there is hatching like over the far southwest of England, but there's not any hatching in the northeast of England. It makes absolutely no sense. So the icon is good for some things, but getting precipitation right and type right and convection is not one of them. I can guarantee it'll be wrong about that.
That's right. And anything that falls from the sky, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, anything that falls from the sky will be snow.
One thing the icon can do is fronts, though. So the precipitation that it's showing on the front here, this precipitation type it's showing there, that is something to take account of. So it's quite good at getting frontal precipitation right.
That's gone from Thursday to Friday, hasn't it?
Yeah, so we're going into Friday now, and we've got this quite major snow event across most of the southern parts of England
and that's up to 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday, and even down on the south coast, that's still suggesting heavy snow even at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday. So.
We could look at some of the temperatures. Tomorrow, maximum temperatures 1 or 2 degrees. So by Tuesday, some places on Tuesday are not getting above freezing. By Wednesday, no one is getting above freezing outside of. Well, that's when those are Wednesday's maximum temperatures. That's truly remarkable, isn't it? That like pretty much nowhere in the entire UK, apart from like the coast of Ireland. Well, Ireland isn't even in the UK, I suppose, but nowhere is really getting above freezing on Wednesday. That's truly remarkable. That is, isn't it?
That's incredibly cold for the end of February. I mean, that's the last day of February, so the last day of statistical meteorological winter. That's quite amazing.
I should point out these are maximum temperatures, not minimum temperatures. Thursdays looks a shade colder. I mean, I've never seen a chart like this before. The maximum temperatures.
Thursday has consistently been modelled to be the coldest day of the week when the cold is at its peak. So, but it will depend on that low pressure from the south. If that comes up quite quickly, then it won't be as cold. Wednesday will be the coldest day, but consistently Thursday at the moment is being modelled to be the coldest day of this spell.
I mean that's truly an incredible chart where we've got pretty much nowhere in the entirety of the British Isles, apart from some of these islands, getting above freezing. And in March, has that ever happened before?
I'm not sure, but
in late March 2013, there were ice days, but they weren't widespread. They were limited to places that was seeing snow.
It will be a very rare event,
Mm.
you know, if it has happened before. I suppose everything has happened before at some time, so it would have happened before, but it would be a very rare event.
Yeah, that seems about right. Shall we take a few more questions now then, and maybe
Okay, so
the other models, and then maybe start to wrap up?
I'll go back to Gas Weather Vid, see if we've had any questions there. Owen is asking, do we reckon Cheshire will get much snow from the low pressure? I assume Owen means the low pressure. That's coming up on Thursday. So it'll be a question of whether that low pressure gets as far enough north on Thursday night and Friday. Obviously, any snow, the precipitation with it is heavy and persistent. So if it gets far enough north to Cheshire, then there will be some very significant snow from that. Nigel is asking how much snow could he get in East Hertfordshire. So again, can't really put amounts to this, but definitely there is going to be an ongoing risk, an increasing risk through the next couple of days of snow showers, and then we've got that more persistent area of snow we're concerned about for the end of the week. Jack is asking, do we think there'll be red warnings issued by the UK Met Office? From the charts we've seen, I think we can probably expect to see red warnings this week, which is quite rare. So see if I've got any more questions. Brad is asking, do we think that the models are going to start trending below pressure further south? I think Quantum said that very often these low pressures are trended southwards compared to what the model output is predicting. So yeah, certainly wouldn't rule out the chance by any means that this low pressure will, in the end, at the end of the week, get trending further south. Brendan is asking, could the sun help to bubble up showers even more, or is it too early for that? So I'm not sure actually, but
there was some warmth in the sun today when I was out.
Definitely,
the sun will heat the boundary layer, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, definitely. I think there will be a little bit of that going on this
week.
During
the day. The only thing is though that solar-based convection happens during the day, whereas the lake effect is more prevalent during the night. I suspect that the effect of the sun will be quite small compared to the effect of compared to the lake effect. So I still think the convection is going to be stronger during the night than it is during the day.
Yeah. So,
but it might mean that during the day that there's more showers than there would be this time last month. But then this time last month the lake effect would also be stronger. So.
Yeah, but I think there will be a little bit of that going on anyway. James has asked, will there be snow in Cork in the south of Ireland? So I would assume, I mean, we saw a model there showing that the snow event at the end of the week was being mostly focused on the Republic of Ireland, more so than the UK. Obviously, that is very much subject to change, but don't rule anything out this week, even in the far south of Ireland. I think there's a risk of a little bit of snow. So Gavin, another Gavin, is asking from Aber, I think it's Aberscan. So that's in South Wales, I think. He's asking, we all know it's going to be cold, but being out in the sun now has got strength in it. Will it be enough to warm the air a little? So I mean, we've explained, but if this had happened a month back, then we would have probably been comparable to the freeze of January 1987. So obviously the sun can have an effect, but probably not that much of an effect. And we're seeing that we are still at risk of ice days through the middle part of the week in particular. Also he's asking if there'll be snow in South Wales. So it's going to take a while to get those snow showers through perhaps to Wales. But by the middle of the week, I think there is definitely risk of snow. Tuesday, Wednesday, definitely risk of snow, South Wales, and then possibly drifting and blizzard type snow on Friday, Thursday night and Friday. So let's carry on. There we go, going up to Brendan again. He's asking, could this rare visit of the 510 line be a sign that we're going into a grand solar minimum. I'm not sure about that, Brendan. You never say but one thing is causing another, but we do know that around solar minimum we get an increased chance of blocking, and we are getting ever closer to a grand solar minimum. Nigel's pointed out that on the 1st of March 1986 there was an ice day across southeastern England and London, but he's not sure how cold it was.
I've got a few on the YouTube chat, so I'm just trying to go through them. What do you think about the latest two stratospheric warmings? So there's apparently a second one happening. Although
yeah, we've had a secondary warming. I'm not seeing a lot of sign of that doing very much.
I mean, to be honest, it's not the warming that causes the so much the conditions that we're having as the zonal wind reversal. So at this point, the wind is already reversed. So the residual warming isn't going to have, I don't think, a major impact. The polar vortex is already pretty much gone as it is, and we're not going to see the polar vortex come back because it's too late in the year for it to really reform. So
that's right.
What else have we got? Is there any precedent in the last decade for models significantly overplaying the extent to which snow turns back into rain, such as late next week? Actually, I'd say it's quite common for that to happen. Especially in situations where you get frontal systems pushing up against cold air. I've always tended to find that the models exaggerate how far north these systems get. So often you would see, for example, if the forecast suggests rain across the Midlands, snow across northern England and Scotland, what tends to happen is you get a couple of flurries across northern England, the Midlands gets all the snow, and Scotland is bone dry. This kind of thing that seems to happen a lot. Models always tend to occasionally they do trend north though, so we can't say for 100%.
That's right. So
let's have a look. What's the lowest temperature we can expect in Essex? Do you want to take that one?
So I mean, we're talking about ice days, sort of Wednesday and Thursday. So I mean, we're probably talking about maximums of -1, -2. For Essex, and that would be colder, I assume. The maximums could be colder than that by Wednesday and Thursday for some sort of northern parts of the country. So talking about a very significant spell of freezing cold weather here. It's quite amazing the sort of things that we're talking about for so late in the winter.
I'd expect the coldest parts on Wednesday, Thursday will be places sort of that still have snow cover, maybe not that much, but are well removed from the east coast, where we're still blowing relatively mild air off the, I might say mild, it's still going to be sub-zero, off the North Sea. So places like eastern parts of Wales, maybe even somewhere like Bristol, the Midlands, somewhere with a little bit of shelter, might have maximums of about -4, -5. The southwest could be surprisingly cold, particularly Devon.
That's right.
Somewhere like Devon, maybe -2, -3. Somewhere I guess like northern Scotland as well. Somewhere I guess like Avonmore, again -3, -4. Anywhere with a little bit of shelter from those winds, I like to see even lower temperatures, especially if they see some snow that limits the solar insolation. So it's a combination of two factors. You want to be seeing snow falling from the sky to limit the effects of the solar radiation, but you also want to be a little bit sheltered from some of those winds.
That's right. I'm on Twitter at the moment, and Paul Stanier is asking an interesting question, because he's saying that the Met Office, and I assume he's talking about the Met Office app, is now saying that his location, which is 20 miles west of Heathrow, will not get any snow, on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. And do we think that will be the case? And all I say about that is that these apps that are sort of all the rage at the moment, they are very, very unreliable. And I think for this kind of situation, you need to stick to human-based forecasts. I mean, apps have their place, they're fine, but for this kind of very complex and unusual type weather pattern. You really need to be sticking with human-based forecasts, whether that's on the telly or the severe weather warnings at the UK Met Office, and of course keep an eye on the radar picture itself, because a lot of this will come down to nowcasting as well. So don't take those apps too literally. It's something that I'm trying to get across to followers and viewers, that these weather apps are at the best of times quite unreliable. And I know people's moods, they want snow, they tend to swing a lot as the apps start forecasting rain or taking the snow away. And you really shouldn't take weather apps too seriously.
I'd only just say, don't necessarily expect huge amounts of snow tomorrow. I expect some snow tomorrow, but the Tuesday onwards is when we're expecting the snow to become disruptive.
That's right. It's flurries tomorrow, and then more substantial snow tomorrow night, and then we're off and running Tuesday, Wednesday.
So risk of some lines ask risk of snow streamer in the 5th to 4th central belt, and to that I would say not so much on Monday or Tuesday, but Wednesday and Thursday. Expect, yeah, definitely. And I'd say arguably you're in a prime position there for some thunderstorms on Wednesday and Thursday. Some snow on Tuesday as well, but maybe not as much in that part of the world. But yes, that's my answer to that question.
Somebody on Twitter is pointing out that apparently the UK Met Office model has moved the low pressure into the channel on Friday, so it's not pushing anywhere near as far north, apparently.
We'll have to, before we close it, we'll have to have a quick look at the other models, because the ECM is starting to run out now, so we can have a quick look at that as well. Snow in Bath and Bristol. Again, these places are further west, so maybe not as much tomorrow or the first part of Tuesday, but Tuesday night onwards, we'll be seeing snow showers even as far as Bristol and Bath. And then, of course, you also have the risk of the snow at the end of the week. In these western parts. Someone's also asked about Pembrokeshire. Same kind of thing. Pembrokeshire actually might see a little bit of snow on Tuesday from that wave type feature. But again, it's for these western parts. Be patient. The snow will get there, but you'll have to maybe wait until later on Tuesday into Wednesday to see it.
On our Facebook page is David is asking about snow in Luton area. Will there be snow in the Luton area, and do you think the low pressure will stay south and keep it cold for the weekend? So everything's up for grabs for Friday and the weekend. Just watch this space on what happens at the end of the week, and probably there will be snow for Luton Tuesday. Particularly looks like it'll be quite wintry, and then perhaps later on in the week. Sean Donahoe is asking, will it be snow in Dublin? So we've explained that yes, these snow showers could well push through, especially by the middle of the week, into the Republic of Ireland. And then I'll have a look and see whether there's any...
So I've got one here. How about in total accumulation for Dundee? Again, same sort of thing. Not as much initially for somewhere like Dundee, but Tuesday night onwards, I'd expect a lot of snow for somewhere like Dundee. Just be a little bit patient for that southeast part of Scotland. A little bit of snow tomorrow, a little bit of snow on Tuesday, but most of the snow Tuesday night onwards. Also, how will Northampton do for snow this week? Again, if you're not in one of these favoured eastern, southeastern, or extreme southwests, eastern Scotland and so on, if you're not in one of these more favoured spots, again, it's the same sort of story. Maybe not so much tomorrow or the first part of Tuesday, but again, Tuesday afternoon onwards, that's when we'd start to see snow. And of course, again, the end of the week is up for grabs for pretty much anyone.
Northampton is one of those areas that can be affected by snow streamers coming down the wash as well. So
oh yeah, I mean that's another thing. You could get in a snow stream tomorrow, and if that happens, you could see a lot of snow very early. So there's that as well. So someone's asking about the thickness compared to other events. So I read an article, Brian Gay's linked to it, about the lowest thicknesses ever recorded in the UK. I think the lowest ever recorded was 491 in Shetland during a northerly. In easterlies, I think there's a few that have managed to get under 500. So we're definitely up there, right at the top of the pile. Maybe not the top of the pile, but like top 5 coldest.
I think this is up there with some of the very coldest spells that we've had since sort of the 1950s, 1960s. Definitely not up there. Not going to reach 1987. That will remain kind of like the biggest single freeze. But
although I should point out that 1987, the cold went away very quickly there as well. So 1987 was really sort of short, sharp. I mean, there's a potential for this to last a little bit longer than
the freeze of 1987 was really at its severest for like a couple of days, 2 or 3 days, and then it quite quickly sort of faded out. But when it was at its worst, I mean, it was just a phenomenal freeze.
So someone's asked about what a blizzard is, whether it's the wind or the intensity or a bit of both. It is indeed a bit of both. So I guess I'm not exactly sure what the technical definition is, but I think blizzards are defined in terms of visibility. So you want a strong wind with heavy snow, and it becomes almost like fog. It becomes quite difficult to see. So someone asked about Bath and Bristol again and again, especially Tuesday afternoon onwards. If the QBO wasn't easterly, would this cold spell have happened? I honestly don't know.
And again, you
probably been less likely, but
less likely. But in any case, you can never say that one thing is causing another thing in the weather. So we can't say that it's 100% certain that this cold spell is down to the easterly QBO. All we can say is that easterly QBOs favour a reduction of the zone winds, and they tend to favour some stratospheric warmings, which I suppose is tied in with the reduction of zone winds. But that's all we can say, and there have been several really quite cold and potent cold spells and cold winters that have happened in westerly QBOs as well. So all these things are just kind of like loading the dice a little bit, but they don't guarantee anything, and you can never say 100% that these things are being caused. These things are causing whatever weather you're experiencing.
Someone's asked about stuff in Coldfield and how much snow we're going to see there. Again, it's part. I've just checked. It's the sort of Midlands area, and again, yeah, a decent amount. With the showers, especially from sort of Tuesday afternoon onwards, several centimeters, if not more than 10 centimeters. And then, of course, there's the uncertainty about what's happening at the end of the week. So yes, definitely significant snow there. Could the snow depth exceed the 250 millimeters we had in 2009? I imagine he's from the southeast of England. We talked about 2009. Yes, I could well imagine we can see more than 25 centimeters. If somewhere in these snow streamers, we'll see more than 25 centimeters. I imagine it's just exactly where, because of course the snow streamers are very, very localized spells of heavy snow. But I suspect somewhere we'll see more than 25 centimeters of snow.
I think that's very likely that somewhere will go above that. Yeah.
What else? I think those are most of the questions. Someone's asking about, will Norwich get much snow? Yeah, definitely. You're favoured to get snow tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Again, after that, it's a bit less certain. So yeah, Norwich is going to get more snow than most, I imagine. Newcastle, how will they do? Newcastle will do extremely well. I expect Newcastle could well see snow possibly in excess of 30 centimeters, possibly. But it's one of those, again, it's one of those favoured spots that's going to see the snow on Monday night into Tuesday. It's going to see the heavy snow showers on Wednesday into Thursday. And it could well see a few more snow showers on Thursday into Friday, if not the actual heavy snow. So somewhere like Newcastle, I could believe gets even more snow than most places. So I wouldn't rule out something like 30 centimetres. Snow in Lancashire again, yes, 5 to 10 centimetres possible by Wednesday, Thursday. Will it be cold? Yes, it will be cold with those really, really cold upper air temperatures. Just trying to look at some of these locations.
I've got a few more on Facebook. So Simon Denham is asking, will there be snow for the Chilterns? So that would be one of the favoured areas, of course, being hillier. So although I'm not sure actually that altitude is going to make a huge amount of difference with this spell, because
I mean, I mean, it won't make a difference to the type of precipitation, but orography may enhance the convection a little bit.
That's right, but I mean, we're talking about snow even down to sea level on the beach. There will be settling snow. That's how cold the air is going to be. So, but yeah, definitely, there's going to be a substantial risk of significant snow for the Chilterns for this spell. Aidan is asking about snow for Kent, and again, yeah, I think Kent is in the firing line for maybe quite substantial snow, particularly
a bit like Newcastle. Kent could do very, very well indeed. I mean, Kent is more. I talked about some places doing better on Wednesday or Thursday. I think Kent is possibly going to do better slightly earlier, because Kent's going to be one of those places that sets up on those snow streamers somewhat earlier. So Kent could see more snow in advance of other places. There's just a bit of uncertainty what's going to happen with Kent towards the end of the week. Kent might import a little bit of dry air on Wednesday or Thursday, so the snow showers might become less frequent by Wednesday or Thursday. I still suspect there will be snow falling from the sky though, but Kent will do very well, particularly in more the first part of the cold spell, and then maybe with the snow coming up from the south later.
Alan De Courcy is asking about snow for the east coast of Ireland. Will there be any snow streamers there? So I would assume that the east coast of Ireland can get snow streamers in the same way that the east coast of the UK can. I'm not an expert in Irish weather and climate, but I assume that you can get snow streamers. So again, so with streamers, it's always a question of where those streamers set up, because they're very, very localized. Yeah, definitely, I think Ireland, particularly the eastern coast of Ireland, will be in the firing line. For some significant snow. And Calvin is asking, what are we expecting in Northants, Gav? Will it be a prolonged spell, mate? So, Calvin, certainly it's very cold up to Friday. Beyond that, it depends where that low pressure is going to go. If that low pressure pushes up into the UK and moves up to Northern England, then the cold air will, for a time, it may come back, but not with the same potency, but for a time, the cold air will retreat back to Scotland. But if that low pressure goes into northern France, which apparently is what tonight's UK Met Office model has been showing, if that low pressure goes into northern France, then we would remain locked into easterly winds, then probably for several more days. So as I said, it really is all up the grabs at the end of the week and into the weekend. That's just about it for Facebook and Twitter. I think
I'm just trying. Someone's asked about wind chills, so I meant to do this actually earlier, so I'm gonna do that now. So these are this only goes 36 hours ahead. Let's just do the GFS. It's easier. So I'll quickly do that. Where is it? Where is he? He's here. Wind chills. This is the high resolution GFS. Wharf is better, but I don't think it's going to make that much difference. So,
I've been meaning to have a detail look in my videos at wind chill, but it's something I've been forgetting to do. But definitely is going to be an important factor in the story of the weather this week.
I mean, so even tomorrow we're looking at wind chills widely, -5, -6, -7. So by the time we get to Tuesday, we're looking at again similar sorts of wind chills on Tuesday. But then Tuesday night into Wednesday, you can see, wow, these, you know, that's quite, that is impressive. So by the time we've got to Wednesday, double-digit negative wind chills in the north, sort of -9, -8 in the southeast.
That's going to feel incredibly bitterly cold.
That I think we've got to the point there where it's almost dangerously cold. I mean, frost, say -18 there in parts of Wales on Wednesday night.
That's shocking, isn't it? Shocking wind chill.
You don't really want to be out in that if you can avoid it. Thursday again, we've got these double-digit negative wind chills. Those are quite serious. I mean, I think at that sort of point where there's a risk of frostbite with prolonged exposure to these sorts of wind chills. So if you're out, particularly on Wednesday or Thursday, or during any of the evenings, make sure you cover anything exposed because it's going to be very cold.
If you can stay in and have a drink of cocoa and watch Star Wars or something, it's that kind of day on both Wednesday and Thursday.
Some impressively cold wind chills. I've got a few more questions. Yeah, we will before we go off air, we will briefly check. We'll briefly check the other models. Wakefield. So Wakefield is, I think they have a bit of altitude in Yorkshire. So yeah, again, you'll do very well. 10, 15 centimeters maybe by Thursday. Okay, so shall we have a quick look at some of the other models before we close off?
Yeah, ECM's updated as we're talking now, isn't it?
Yeah, so let's do that last. So GM. Okay, so we're seeing the GFS. So yeah, you can see that cold air really moving in on Wednesday, and then this area of low pressure is rolling about in the channel. It's almost like there's sort of a secondary one here that develops as well. So potentially even multiple regions of snow. Again, it depends how much mild air is imported here.
But it would depend whether the first low takes the cold air out of the atmosphere. So it may be that the first low will be very snowy, and then the second low, if it comes up, might be more sort of rain.
So certainly the GEM keeps the colder air over Scotland, but it moderates it a lot for southern areas. The 850 temperatures don't matter at this point, incidentally. It's just about keeping them below zero, because the cold air is already going to be at the surface. So the GEM keeps it very cold in Scotland.
Scotland is locked into a very prolonged freeze with that model. So. And you only need to adjust that southwards by a few hundred miles, and then the UK is locked into a prolonged freeze with that model. So again, everything from Friday, I think, and the weekend is still up for grabs, really.
That seems about right. So that's the GM. So UKMO. See, that one's somewhat more impressive in keeping the low further south.
This is the UK Met, isn't it?
Yes. Yep. So by Friday, we've still got. I mean, if we look at the 850 temperatures to see, yeah, we've still got the cold locked in. Even on the south coast, I suspect it's still mostly going to be snow at this point. So the UKMO keeps it quite a lot colder. Oh yeah, so I mean, see, the UKMO doesn't really take that low pressure far north at all. It brings us back into the cold by Saturday. So the UKMO is the sort of situation where the low pressure is a lot further south.
Yeah, so that would still be very snowy for sort of central southern parts of England and Wales, but it wouldn't take it as far north as these other models are doing, and it wouldn't produce therefore the switch back to rain and sleet for the south coast either.
So this is the icon. So let's have a look and see what that does. Based on the high resolution, I imagine it keeps us a bit further south. So yes, again, it's all about the orientation. What we don't want is for this low to develop too far to the west, because then that'll start to draw in milder air from the south. But yeah, this seems to still stay relatively cold, especially Scotland again. So. A quick look at the NavGem as well. Same sort of story. NavGem has this scenario where it brings the low further up the North Sea. This is a scenario I see from time to time in cold spells. Still keeping it relatively cold. What do you think?
Yeah, that looks like it's maintaining the cold. Especially, I think there's a decent chance actually from this model output. There's a decent chance that Scotland will be in a prolonged cold spell here. It's just the question is for sort of Ireland, England, and Wales, whether we manage to push those sort of southerly winds in. But for Scotland, this looks like quite a prolonged cold spell.
The ECM has this low further west, and this is something that I would be more keen to avoid if we want to have a longer cold spell, because if the low forms further to the west, we're starting to mix the colder air out. You don't want to be doing that, because if you want to maintain the very distinctive line between mild and cold. When you start to mix these air masses together, that fragments the front and it turns things just slowly milder without much snow.
I've noticed the ECM has been struggling quite a lot this winter. I'm not sure what the reason is, because normally we rate it as like the best model, but it's been struggling a lot this winter.
But despite the fact it has this low, mind you, Jesus, I mean, Ireland, that it's not I mean, not just the snow, but I mean, Christ, look at the wind speeds. I mean, these are 850, but I mean, if this particular chart came off, and I'm not saying it will, we would be seeing 2 red warnings for the same place, one for snow and one for wind, and potentially even one for rain as well. Well, not a red warning for rain, but 2 red warnings at the same time if this chart comes off. Actually, Ireland doesn't do that same system, does it? So
I'm not sure what the system is for Ireland, but it looks very, very impactful.
That's quite an extreme just in terms of rain and sorry, not rain, in terms of snow and wind. But despite the low forming further to the west, this main area of low pressure dies quite quickly and pushes off. And instead we get this short wave with maintaining most of the cold air, and then by the time we get to 168 hours, we're back in the northeasterly winds. 192, yeah, we're still in northeasterly winds there. Yeah, the ECM keeps it pretty much cold. I mean, you can see the wind direction here, sort of winds, sort of some milder air maybe pushing into parts of England, but staying cold across northern parts of England. And then by the time we get to 192, we've got these cold northeasterly winds back. So the ECM keeps it cold.
I think going through the models as we have done, tonight's models have probably shifted more towards maintaining cold weather at the end of the week and into the weekend, actually.
The GMA is a bit more keen to bring milder air up. But it's even the GMA still keeps cold across northern Scotland, and then it tries to bring it back. It's uncertain. I think it depends how far north this low gets, but I think what we can say is summer is going to get a lot of snow.
It's all up for grabs from Friday into the weekend, but there is going to be a substantial risk of drifting snow and blizzards across parts of the country at the end of the week. And it is by no means certain at all that we're going to push milder air through and then this cold spell. It could well be that this is setting up for, as I think the UK Met Office was saying this about a week ago, we're likely to have a couple of weeks of cold weather. And it is very possible. For parts of Scotland, I would say probable, but for the rest of us, it's very possible that this could extend, not at the same severity as we've got coming up in the days ahead, but it could extend for another week, actually, beyond next weekend.
Yes, I would tend to agree with that. It's still quite uncertain, but what I will say is that I suspect we will see an entire week where somewhere in the UK will be seeing snow, and of that week there will be several days where pretty much everywhere will be seeing snow. So pretty much from Monday to Monday, that period, I think pretty much, I mean, not everywhere for every day in that period, but during that period, I think everywhere will be seeing snow. And Scotland looks like it's going to stay cold even into next weekend, and possibly.
I definitely agree with that.
So yeah, I think unless there are any final questions you wanted to address, I think that's a wrap, pretty much, isn't it?
Yeah. So just trying to go through some more questions that Gaz. So I'm not sure I've had many more actually. So no, I think that pretty much. Sorry if I've missed anybody out. I know I've missed a few out on Facebook and Twitter, but there's just been so much interest for this one. I mean, we could easily extend another hour, I would think, with questions, but we're going to have to draw a line somewhere. So sorry for those that missed out on having their questions answered, but we've done a lot of questions tonight. So,
but feel free to leave any more comments on Gav's Weatherfoods or Twitter or in the comments on the YouTube as well, and they may well get answered after. And of course, feel free to share the YouTube video if you want to watch this video on demand. you can do that as well. So yeah, that's been a good show. It's been our most popular live stream yet. Not really surprising given that what's going to happen, but thanks everyone. I hope you all enjoyed. So